right behind that budding rivalry. It involves a 21-year-old rookie, his first oval competition. His name is Thomas Scheckter. His dad, Jody Scheckter, former world champion. And what did Thomas do? Well, he outqualified his boss and new teammate, Eddie Cheever. And he did it after crashing in practice. Climbed into a backup car that hadn't turned a wheel this weekend, and he broke the track record. He ends up starting third. Bob Jenkins, we may have a brand new star in the making right here in the IRL.
And we may have a new star in the broadcast booth.
Hornish is the leader. Castroneves in second place. They pulled away a bit. Look at them go 3-4 wide down the backstretch.
And you think about these guys, as I mentioned, they've been off since October, but they get out there 200 miles an hour, wheel to wheel.
Up car against the wall. And that is Cheever. Eddie Cheever. This is what you would not have expected.
Well, absolutely.
If you're going to have a wreck in that team, you would have expected the rookie.
Well, you'd hate to say it exactly. From what we saw the other day with Thomas Scheckter, had a lot of confidence. We didn't really think that it would be his team owner, Eddie Cheever, doing the damage today.
So the caution comes out here very early on. I was going to say that with 10 guys who have never started here, there was a concern that they might be the problem. Instead, it's the veteran Cheever. Here it is.
Well, man, you know, there's going to be some discussion in the trailer tonight.
Going to be a long talk in the trailer between Cheever and his new protege.
And what happened there is that Eddie got pushed out to the top, stopped right there. He's already going high. That's after the contact.
Paul, just a moment ago on the radio, Cheever said, "This is unbelievable." We see him climbing out now. His goal this year, have fun. This is no fun, I guarantee you.
So for the first time in the day in the season, the caution comes out, the yellow flag flies here at Miami as Eddie Cheever climbs out of the car. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Eddie Cheever released from the hospital. Obviously, you're all right. What happened on the track? Did you get pushed off the groove?
No, my teammate hit me from behind. DeFerrin passed. I filtered him behind him, and he just came in too deep. We talked about this the whole weekend. Take your time. Make sure there's room in a pass. I would be just as angry right now if he had hit somebody else on the track. It was uncalled for, stupid, and right now I'm so angry I'm beside myself.
That's Eddie Cheever. Boy, what a tough way to start a brand new racing season.
Yeah, and if I'm Scheckter, I think I'll make sure I stay out for the whole 200 laps. And then, if I can win it, that would be a good thing, too, because then I won't have to talk to Eddie for a while.
Well, that might take a little bit of the spark off of it, but you have to think back to what Eddie was doing just 3 weeks ago, trying to make a decision. Does he hire Alonso Jr. with all the experience, or does he hire Thomas Scheckter, who's a rookie, but showed brilliant speed? Today, he might be questioning his decision.
Here's something to think out. Alonso Jr. is 24. We've got another yellow. Coming off of turn 2. Scott Sharp is obviously involved.
Lazarro or someone spun in front of me. Nowhere to go, boys.
So you hear the description from Scott Sharp himself in the cockpit.
And you can just hear the frustration on his voice. Obviously, fought with a car all day long that maybe wasn't working as well as you wanted to, but was thinking about championship points, and you can just hear the frustration when he took the steering wheel off.
Eddie Cheever, second race of the season, second race that Cheever is involved with contact with the wall.
They are going to have one big, large repair bill over the last couple of races, guys. That's a third car in 2 races. Very big disappointment for Team Cheever.
And this was shortly after the green came out. Looked like Lazarro, Scott, spun and collected the other 2.
There again, after a restart, the tires can be cold, as we talked about before. You can see the car come around, and then it takes out the other 2 guys, and those guys are just victims. Now, Lazzaro's car, you saw, the left front wheel came off and went underneath his car, which caused his car to get up into the air. A couple of cars get into the grass.
Crash here at California Speedway has once again brought out the caution. You can see Hideki Noda is moving around in the cockpit. The safety crew is there extinguishing a fire that broke out in the rear of the car. Obviously some very heavy damage. This is the first caution of the day that has been brought out because of an accident. We had a couple of debris cautions and one caused by a blown engine. But this is the first incident of wall contact that we have seen so far. There is Noda climbing out of the car, and let's replay it, Scott.
I think what was happening here, guys, was it looked like Scheckter started to have a problem. We don't know from what, but he started to slow down off the pace. Noda did not see that and drove directly into the back of him, sending both of them into the wall. Now here we look at it again. See, there's Scheckter just starts to slow, and you can see at this point he's already contacted the back end of Scheckter. Now here we go again. You can see he's already starting to slow down. Now watch as we move the frame along here in a second. You'll see Noda come up from behind and drive directly into the back of Scheckter. At that point in time, all he is a passenger. Point of contact coming up right there.
Hunter Jr., Anthony Lazarro, Eddie Cheever Jr., Lazier, who contact with Thomas Scheckter. Yellow comes out. Wow. It got so crowded back there. Scott Goodyear, as you said, it gets so very busy here. But again, in Jacques Lazier, we're talking a veteran. He's gotten together with a guy who said this track is tricky and is brand new to the track, Thomas Scheckter.
Certainly looked like Scheckter was trying to get underneath Lazier going into 3. We talked about before, turn 3 is the best place to pass. It's the only part of the racetrack where you've been traveling down the straightaway for a period of time where you can actually set somebody up, get a little bit of a draft, and get underneath them going into turn 3. Now, Thomas looks like he was on his way past Lazier, didn't get the job done. Both guys wanted to get right to the middle of the track at the same time, and they both touched and collided, and this is the end result. Watch here, Thomas going on the inside, already on the curbing, comes on the underneath side of Lazier. They touch and off they go. Both Lazier brothers have not had a very good luck here today, I'll tell you. Now watch this, Scheckter on the inside, trying to take advantage of a little bit of traffic, trying to get underneath Lazier. Both of them don't have enough room. Lazier running a little bit of a higher line, trying to come down and do a later apex. Now watch as they come towards the turn. You'll see the two lines that they're headed for. Looks like Schecter's already about ready to make his pass. Lazier is running a wider line, about ready to pick up the apex right down here in this section. And as we continue along, you'll see that he's going to push himself up onto the curbs, has no room to move. His right front touches the left rear of Lazier, and off they go.
Now we'll take a look at on-board shot. Boy, that's heavy damage on both of those cars. That's going to be expensive.
Heavy damage, Paul, especially since Indianapolis is coming up here very shortly. Two well-financed teams, though, that do have spare cars sitting back there in the shop ready to get ready for the testing starting here in a couple of weeks. We're on board with Jacques Lazier. You can see that he was just driving along. You did not see Schecter's car come into frame, so Lazier probably didn't see him. Schecter's trying to get underneath him, trying to get a run towards turn 3. Scheckter is probably at fault in that situation. Probably should have just waited another lap to set up Lazier going down the backstretch.
And safety.
Trying to make an adjustment. Michael, however, thinks something may be broken on the race car.
Yellow comes out. We've got a car into the wall.
It's your leader,
And it's the leader again. Thomas Scheckter into the wall. Tony Kanaan is the leader, crashed, and now it's Scheckter. Paul Tracy will pick up the lead under yellow.
Paul, the disappointment in Thomas Scheckter right now, especially as you mentioned with his father, 1979 world champion Jody Scheckter looking on. As we can see, hitting the outside wall into that safer barrier. He was already high, way off the groove on the racetrack when we came into view. You can see there he goes and makes hard right side compound.
That's a pretty major hit.
Jackaroot's complaining of the right rear and is dropping down off the banking and apparently is going to be making a second pit stop here. Oh, and the wheel comes off and it goes over and hits Scheckter.
Come on down off the bank. Come on down off the bank. Get down on the flat.
The right right rear was not attached properly, and there it is bouncing down the racetrack in turn number 4.
Take it easy. You'll do less damage if you just ease it in. We'll be fine, Sam. It's all under yellow. We'll be fine.
Under caution, this is what happened to Sam Hornish Jr. under caution. He had just been in for a pit stop, and they didn't get the right rear on. The lug nut fell off. The car went into turns 3 and 4. The wheel came off and went over and banged against the Red Bull Team Cheever Infinity, driven by Thomas Scheckter.
People, you know, for this kind of racing at night, with this, you know, being as humid as it is and everything, but we'll be back next week.
Oh! Hornish in trouble. He gets hit, and he catches the wall.
You got it. Contacted.
We were on the onboard, and look there. There is Cheever. It looked like Hornish got stabbed from the rear, but that's only a conclusion, Scott, from what we saw on board.
Well, we'll have to see a replay, Paul, but just a few laps before, I did notice Cheever starting to take a peek on the inside and have a look there, and it certainly looked the way that his car went around with Hornish climbing out of his car right now. You can start to see the fire from the oil just here in the back section. I certainly think that maybe he got tagged. Problems now looking at points. Here you see Cheever getting up underneath him. He's clearly underneath him, and all of a sudden, it just looked like the two of them got together. The right front of Eddie Cheever's car collecting the left rear of Hornish's car, and off they went to the wall. Now let's have a closer look here. Eddie's underneath, and it looks like Eddie just started to get off the gas. Hornish might have started to come down. They're obviously vying for the same spot on the racetrack. Just a small touch can show you how quickly these cars can be up on the wall. Now you saw when Hornish got out of the car, he sat on the side part of the car. You think about it, going 215, 20 miles an hour and hitting that wall at probably over 100 Gs.
Oh! And this time it's Eddie Cheever. The 51 Red Bull car and Redon. What's going on here?
That's a
Hey, Ron, if you
shame.
can hear me, just raise your hand. Thanks.
So both Cheever and Redon, and we don't know yet if it was two different accidents or one together. Cheever throws off the collar and is ready to climb out of the car. Physically, he's okay. Temperamentally, I'm not sure where he's at. And Redon, who had been so promising, looked so good.
That hose
Imagine he just got a little anxious. They made him stop. He wasn't sure that he liked that idea of stopping and going back under the yellow, going back considerably. Yeah, it's both of them together.
Laurent hit very hard. Car gets up over the wall, almost along the fence a little bit, and it comes back down very hard, up over the top of Eddie Cheever by the looks of it.
Redon really up in the air there for a second. Here's a better view. You can see what happened to Redon. Boy, look at that car try to fly.
Now, we haven't seen the previous section yet, but it looks like maybe Eddie had a problem because it looked like he was already around 180 degrees, and Laurent probably tried to go around the top of him. But for the young Frenchman who has not had any experience on ovals before, this is probably going to be a hard hit for him to remember this by.
Well, transmission. See the show of oil at the back of the car.
Well, and there again, a veteran driver getting...
Oh! Scheckter!
So close to the win again.
Oh. First act, yeah, I'm incredulous too. First accident of the day, and it's the leader, Thomas Scheckter. With 10 laps to go, the car very light on fuel, into the wall. Hornish picks up the lead.
Well, maybe a few things might have happened there, Paul. You don't know whether or not there was a little bit of oil from Allen's Jr.'s car on the racetrack, and possibly he just got on top of that and it took him out and put him for a ride.
Well, certainly Junior's car was leaking something. If he said it was gearbox, then you assume it's a slightly heavier lubricant out of the gearbox, heavier and very slick.
And here we go. We're going to watch Thomas. He's down, coming down towards the apex. Car's going up, and the back end just comes out from underneath him. And I got to tell you, it doesn't look like anything the driver's doing there, but possibly might have been a little bit of fluid on the track.
Well, Scott, the report to Thomas Scheckter to Owen Snyder was that a right rear tire went soft without any warning.
Something a driver has no control over. Look at the tire right there. He's off the rim.
Second place is Thomas Scheckter. Not everybody is due for a stop shortly, Jackaroo.
Well, Paul, here's what Thomas Schecter's Red Bull team's going to do. They're going to bring him in on lap 1.
Caution, Jack. Caution, Jack. Sorry. Oh, and it ends up to be a double situation.
It is Thomas Scheckter along with Billy Boat.
But I think we saw... Well, we'll wait and look. It looks like when they slowed for the yellow, you had another car.
Okay, Billy?
Oh, man, Scheckter again. 11 cars, 10 races for that team.
They couldn't do it.
All right, this is Scheckter.
Going high. Looks like he's trying to get past Eddie Cheever. We talked about the low line before, getting up into the gray, and sure enough, looks like the grayness and the marbles we've heard the other guys talk about sucked him in, and sure enough, right behind him comes Billy Boat.
That could be fluid on the track, too. They got to keep that in mind. So,
What you have
Before
to do,
you hit
that's a
pit lane,
funny.
drag your brake before you hit. Watch your speed coming down. Watch your speed
yellow
coming down.
comes out.
No pressure
Caution
here, guys.
lights
Nice
come
and
on.
smooth.
As Bryce and Scheckter both heading for the pits, and this may be a Cheever problem. Yes, indeed it is. Look at the right front there. There was a brush involved.
Well, it's a big break for those other guys, Paul, but I got to tell you, Thomas Scheckter gets some bad luck by his own teammate again, his own team owner, Eddie Cheever, because if this yellow didn't come out, everybody else would not have the advantage of the yellow pit stops.
So what happened to Eddie Cheever?
He's just high, right off the racing groove. Remember, there's 2 or 3 grooves here. A couple of cars underneath Eddie. It looks like he's just on the high side. Probably got his wheels up into the gray. And then sure enough, that takes you all the way into the wall. Now, as we go back and look at this in slow motion, watch where Eddie is. He's actually way over here on the left-hand side as you saw him, and then he ends up clipping the wall. There's 2 or 3 cars underneath him, so he was just outside of the racing groove.
And Paul, that was a classic example of the major difference between running an IndyCar. Trouble.
Oh, car against the wall. Couple actually involved, and one of them is Thomas Scheckter.
Well, the turn 2, we haven't seen the replay yet, but it does tighten up there on the exit of 2.
So as we suggested, 2 cars involved, Thomas Scheckter being one of them. And unfortunately, the 14 car, which is Ayrton Dare.
Standing up
Both
in
of the
the
winners
seat,
this year.
looking for the damage, seeing what happened.
Dare was down running 18th at the time of the accident. Scheckter was trying that run for the front. Here it is.
We got a car spinning right there, and I would, looks like it possibly could be Scheckter. Paul will have to get a closer look of it, but lost the car just on the exit of 2. The back end seemed to come around, came around quite quickly. So we don't know if that was a mechanical problem with the car, but then he lost it, backed the car into the wall. And unfortunately, Ayrton Dare was just going around on the high side and got collected.
Looked like Scott Sharp had to make a bold move to the left to keep away from it. Yeah, that was Scheckter that backed into the wall first, and Dare tried to run high, but it didn't help. Just put him into the wall as well.
Now watch his hands right here to see what happens when the car starts to go around. He corrects once, twice. So initially, something happened with the car. He went to correct. You saw his hands turn down to the right. He came back to center, and then the car wiggled again, and then it was just too much that time, and he couldn't catch it. And off the car went backwards into the wall. Now think about that. The car is going around the turn, 215, 20 miles an hour, and the thing slips out from underneath him.
So caution again at Kentucky Speedway. Back at Kentucky Speedway, we tried to restart, but then this car, the 53 machine of Buddy Rice, got sideways down in the first turn. He saved it, did a good job of saving it, but of course, that caused the officials a little apprehension, and they hit the yellow light immediately, as they should.
Oh, you see the car coming off the bottom of the turn, probably a little bit low, pinching the car a little bit coming off. The back end gets loose, but he does a nice job correcting it, gets the car straight, did not get onto the grass. He just gets into the back of the field.
So at the current moment, it is Felipe Giafoni that is leading the run. We take a look at the Buddy Rice situation again. Meira's car just easily down onto the asphalt on the insides, and that helped.
She had reported earlier in turns 3 and 4, the car was extremely loose. Maybe the handling gets better now.
Oh, Vitor Meira! Well, that was a handy little bit of driving.
Kept himself on pit lane. Nice piece of driving. Remember, not much options here when the car goes out like that because the wall's right there, Paul, around a 1.3-mile racetrack. Now he's trying to get into gear.
Still running Vitor. Come in the pit.
Probably wasn't used for that truck to come out.
There's in part the road racing background.
Get him a tire.
Looks like he's entering into 3. Rice is right underneath him. They look like just a slight touch. Right front to his left rear. What a great piece of driving by Meira. Remember, they're doing 185 or 90 miles an hour right now.
And coming off the bank. And kicking the clutch in and keeping the motor running.
And raising his heart rate to about 190 beats a minute.
Vitor Meira, you really got to give him credit for that one. Save the car.
Fuel.
Go in, pick up some tires, though it'll be a pass-through the first time because they do need to wait until the pits are open.
To recover.
Into his driving suit when he changed back in. He was walking with a limp.
We have a crash in 3 and 4. We've seen it happen a couple of times today in that area. Alex Barron.
Boy, he was right up there in the middle of the fight, too. Alex Barron catches the wall in 4, comes down, and is in a fairly awkward position at the edge of the pit road. And I would assume that you wouldn't pit anyway.
Well, it's obviously going to play into Rice's hand because he's getting a situation where he's close and everybody else is just going to wait to see how long this yellow lasts, Paul.
They're suggesting that maybe he and Darren Manning may have actually touched. Now, this Delphi safety team, the very first thing they do when they get to the car, there's a set of LEDs on the side of the car that tell them what the impact injury was. It's connected in part to some accelerometers that they wear in their earphone plugs. And that tells them right away whether or not they really need to worry or whether he's probably all right.
Well, the key indication is that when the driver actually moves inside the cockpit, takes the steering wheel off, which is removable, and puts it on top of the cowling of the car, that's one thing. But remember, that's still a big hit. And those little LEDs you mentioned, Paul, will really tell them even if it's over 50 Gs, because they find out that's about the threshold point for when maybe a driver can have some injury.
Well, and those kind of injuries can be so subtle. I mean, you've had them. Mark Donahue, it took his life. They thought he was fine, released him, but they didn't realize the kind of injuries that he had suffered.
Absolutely. There you go. Actually, both of them they absolutely touched. You can see just not enough room for both of them to be down on the very bottom there. Manning right down by the white line, just wiggles the car, moves up into Barron, and then you lose adhesion and you become a passenger. See? Up down to the low side to protect their line. More pit stops. Ed Carpenter.
Carpenter's in. My guess is that Sharp should be in any time now as well. Whoa!
Keep going. Make another lap, guys. He went off pit lane.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's the same thing that happened to Dixon. Dixon had the same problem, too fast. And you try to make speed up and you try to make time up when you're coming into the pit lane, but he regained it and got on racetrack. Lucky nobody was coming through to hit him.
Boy, nice bit of driving to save that. And if you count Castroneves in practice, then it's the third time we've seen that.
Absolutely. Same deal again. Car slides off the road. He's going to miss the attenuator. Wouldn't Foyt actually have an opportunity to see that coming and have his pulse rate just go up a little?
Foyt the fourth went flying around on the outside, got clear of him. Back at Phoenix, it was Ed Carpenter that caught the wall, and that brought everybody into the pits. And it was a battle into the pits. In fact, you saw right at the end of it as Kanan came roaring out. And I'm just looking. I think they stopped everybody, didn't they, Jack? Nobody's out there.
Yeah, you know, in hockey, Scott, as you know, they have line changes. That was a team change. I mean, there was everybody came in. But I think the guy that benefited the best was Pennzoil Panther. Man, they got their driver, Thomas Scheckter, in and out so quick. It just took my breath away.
So this is Ed Carpenter's car. He was out, appeared to be okay. And you can see, though, there's damage heavy to the left front, left rear. It's about halfway through turn 2. Thanks for doing that, Tony Kanaan, the leader. We do have another perspective of the Ed Carpenter situation. It looks like it was just a little quick loss of the back end, though we're not yet sure why. We're ready to go back to green flag. And here is Carpenter. You see him, the blue car, yellow numbers on her.
Just a little bit loose on the entry to the turn. He had to pinch it down because Scott Sharp was high. Back end came around, guys.
And you saw the safer barrier do what it's supposed to do.
So with his car on the hook, we could be set up for a magnificent final 49 laps of the run.
Back cleaned up, probably somewhere around maybe just over 20 laps towards the end of the race. We got a report of maybe a wheel going through the infield sometime. So if that's the case, and there it is.
You picked a fine time to leave me loose, Wheel.
Well, you know something?
You like country. You like country music.
Well, you know, 51 is this. If this is the situation, Barron's going to have 3 wheels, and as we saw Sam happen earlier, cars don't work that well with only 3 wheels on it.
It's pretty hard to hide it, too, when you've done it. It's off Alex Barron's car. And it makes... you know, in the pits, there's only, you know exactly who changed that wheel, and you can imagine how they feel when they know the car's coming back in. You're going to have to put another one on. And, of course, the other pit crew guys they're famous for not giving you any quarter whatsoever. Weldon leads under caution. Sprint to the finish coming. And 15 miles an hour as an average.
Keep in mind that equates out to over a football field a second.
Well, and another car takes the wall. 2 of them. Everybody tries to get it slowed down to make sure they don't get on that carbon fiber debris. That brings a caution out. This is the 63rd lap. Always amazes me. There's Mark Taylor sliding to a stop, and how fast the safety crews get there.
Not been Mark Taylor's day.
But he was still there, and they hit.
Ed Carpenter, the other car.
Ironic, guys, that both Mark Taylor and Ed Carpenter are side by side in the pit lane.
You think about it, you know, these 2 guys ran here in the Menards Infinity Pro Series against one another last year. Ed Carpenter won the race held here, Taylor the series. Carpenter's obviously okay, and that's good news. Well, Scott?
Well, guys, 2 guys going for the same piece of real estate, and it just doesn't work like that sometimes.
Fortunately, the cars came around, scrubbed off a lot of speed in doing so.
And they end up in the safer barrier, that steel and foam energy reduction barrier that the IRL has in place. Now, it looks like Taylor's trying to go around the outside of Carpenter. Remember, Carpenter's on the low side, but there's cars in front. Does he get a little bit of dirty air and the cars start to push up front? Here we go. We'll get a good sense of what's going on right here. Nice passes. Barron went right through. Now, guys, that's a side-by-side. And I got to say that Ed's just maybe a hair high going through the turn. Could have made it work, but they just went for the same piece of real estate.
Scott, do you remember
any incident out there? So we'll wait for race control to let us know the reason for this yellow. But my guess is the way people have been moving on one another that there could be some tiny pieces of debris. Let's look at this. This may be the reason here.
See, Carpenter's actually
Whoa,
Barron, 51, not Carpenter. Barron is sliding up the racetrack. And look at this left front wing right now. That is bent, so a pit stop's going to happen very shortly so we can actually get that changed on Manning's car.
Yeah, but the yellow. Well, back at Texas, we went green for just 2 laps, and then this is live. This is Ed Carpenter.
Paul, it makes you wonder if there is some damage done to his car upon that impact. You know, we talked about the contact on the right rear, and all of a sudden that came out of turn 3 and 4. He was by himself and ended up hitting the wall. That's an oil fire. They'll get it out right away. There's no danger of that spreading. But Ed Carpenter with some pretty heavy contact to the wall.
Mateo, that was definitely a big one. I mean, it's good to see that he got the steering wheel out, so he's definitely conscious. And I'm looking forward to see what happened there. Yeah, he's fine. You can tell he's fine. He's walking.
They actually went green. Listen to that crowd. They went green for really about a lap and 3/4, and just as we were coming back, yellow flashed on with this situation with Ed Carpenter. Of course, we're going to search through the tapes and try to figure out exactly what happened, but it gives Tony Kanaan a continued leading position, followed by Franchitti, Rice, Meira, and Matsura. Bombardier 500. Let's go back and see if we can figure out now exactly what happened when Ed Carpenter got up into the wall in the Red Bull number 52.
Well, as we come into that shot there, he has already hit the wall on the right side, and he's actually missed what we call the safer barrier, which is actually only in the turns, the steel and foam energy reducing barrier that they've actually put up in both of these turns on both ends. Actually, he did impact it. He impacted it way back. And we talked about losing the brakes once you've actually lost some of the wheels off the car. So he did impact that safer barrier that's actually up in the wall. And helps reduce the G's that the driver sees upon impact.
To be able to get through this race, here's one of the guys you really have to look at because he has a 3-hour regiment. Caution is on.
Mario's slow up ahead, just off the pace. Yellow flag.
Oh, this looks like bad news for Alex Barron.
The right rear, Paul, you can see right there, contact with the wall. The front wing is also askewed. You can see the wheel on the right front is also.
Do you hear the radio transmission, though, that 55 got him? I think that's more a reference to a position than actually getting in contact with Alex. But, boy, after such a great run at Texas, the 51 Red Bull car sits up against the wall, and its night appears to be over. So we've run down to the first yellow here at Richmond, and we'll be right back. But at the same time, very shortly, the leaders will come up on slower traffic.
Yep.
Oh! They both got high if whether or not we're going yellow. Not yet. Not yet.
Now, the problem is that he's on the high side. All these guys need to know where he's at because they're going to come out and get very close like this.
Oh, what a dangerous position. Ed Carpenter, and there they go yellow. They go yellow with 4 laps to go.
I was almost about to say he lost his drive, but I think he just got stuck up there and didn't know what to do with it.
So Ed Carpenter looks like he's going to be able to bring it on around. This is what happened. Carpenter in the middle there.
Yeah, I'm not.
Touches with the left front of Greg Ray. And that slows both of them.
Yeah, one can only believe that he's probably got a right rear flat on Carpenter's car. An issue as the race goes on. We've got contact in turn 4 right now.
And that's Ed Carpenter,
who actually just went right down a lap just a little while ago. So that tells you his car was not working very well for him. One of the 3 rookies, Ed Carpenter.
So suddenly his performance and his luck has gone from bad to worse.
You know, I spoke with Max Jones, the general manager of the team, and we're talking about crash damage, and he says, you know, we haven't had a very lucky year so far. We are going on close to $1 million in crash damage up to this race so far.
Wow. $1 million. Eddie Cheever's got that, doesn't he? 62 laps. We're on our 3rd yellow of competition. Obviously, Ed is okay. He climbs out of the car. The Delphi safety team is right there. They'll make sure that nothing gets on the track, though you can see there is some fluid that got on as he got it off the track as fast as he could. Here it is, Scott.
You know, he got to the middle of the turn there, Paul, and the car just started going up the road. So I got to believe there was a mechanical problem because it just shot up. He was not offline. He was down where he should be. And here we can see we're already past that center point, and he's already up hitting the wall. But previous to that, he was exactly where he should be. Car started to go high, right mid-turn, right at the apex. Tells me that something probably broke in the machine.
Well, he was behind Dario Franchitti.
And just a couple of moments ago, Adrian Fernandez locked horns with what could have been disaster. Here you're riding on board with Adrian, and that is Alex Barron on the outside. Now watch. Oh, can you get any closer than that? They actually did touch there, Paul.
That's a touch, exactly. That's as close as you can get. Beating Taylor when Taylor got into the wall after bouncing off of Townsend Bell. Let's take you back a few laps.
Now watch the 3-car, Elio Castroneves on the inside, that red and white car, going underneath the 52 of Ed Carpenter, just on the curbing and then just touching the right front wheel to Carpenter's left front, a small amount. Very aggressive move, but you got to get through the traffic if you can and when you can, Paul.
Learn about the racetrack. Well, I knew where it was.
He could get to it. Caution comes out. Car against the wall, and that's Carpenter. Oh, he'd been struggling all day with that car and finally lost the struggle. And that's right on the entrance to the pit road, too.
Paul, you mentioned the speed that he was doing, 139, 138 miles an hour. That's sometimes about 15 to 18 miles an hour as we look at his team owner, Eddie Cheever, with the Red Bull team. A lot of disappointing weekends here for this team so far this year, and this is just one of them. A lot of damage they've done so far, and this is the second car they've crashed so far this weekend.
Well, Ed Carpenter was trying to gut it out with a car that had been reported as being in fairly bad handling shape early on, falling the 8 laps behind, and the last car of all of those running right now. I'm surprised they kept it out.
Well, it's a difficult call to make. You want to stay out there and give him experience because it's sort of new to him. Not a whole lot of open wheel experience with the Indy cars, but the longer you stay out, the more experience you gain. But if you're actually going that slow, sometimes you're in the way and you start driving from your mirrors a little bit instead of looking forward, and sooner or later it catches you out.
So Red Bull Team Cheever has one of his cars out of competition. Alex Barron is still out there and running in 12th place.
And as we saw there, when he was coming off of 2, he was up in the gray area, as we call it, off the black area where all the traction is, where you end up getting it. And here we're going to look just ahead of it. You can see the car already grazing the wall up there. Thomas Scheckter obviously has to take some avoidant mission there to make sure that he misses all the parts on the racetrack that are coming off the car. There's debris going through there. Guys, I've had that before, and I can tell you when it comes at you at about 150 miles an hour, you have to duck.
Jack would not work, could not get the car lifted up. It came in and put the air impact in it, and apparently it would not lift the car. They had to go with a manual front and rear jack to lift the car. So apparently a problem here, and also another problem up pit road, guys.
Yeah, Barron came out of the pits and only had 3 tires.
Coming in turn 4.
They do require 4.
Turn 4.
So Barron will go back. They'll get that onto the left rear. So Fernandez, though, blindingly fast first stop.
We got the wing, right?
And then it turns into an absolute mess on the second stop. Dan doesn't know. Whoa! And that's Alex Barron. He was in 11th place, and that's a pretty substantial hit. Right side. Now with 14 to go, think what that's going to turn the finish into.
Absolutely.
Alex appears to be okay. Yeah, there's a signal he's okay. Takes the wheel off, sets it on top of the front column.
Just before we continue on with this, let's go back to the Weldon thing and just talk about it for a second. You know, Weldon had some traffic on the lower side of him, so it'll be very interesting to sort of see what that comes up with, because maybe he had no place to go except move up the racetrack.
So that stop and go came just before this, so if there was any good news in it for Weldon, that may be that while he was coming out, the front of the field was slow and going into 3.
And the key thing is he probably did not go down a lap, which is a very lucky thing for him in this situation on the unlucky part from Alex Barron.
We're going to look back from Townsend Bell. There's Barron
Bit further back.
Yeah.
Okay. You saw he was a little bit high, and then he started to drop down underneath Bell, and you get that dirty air that we talk about. The back end of the car got loose. The car is starting to oversteer, swaps ends, and Jill, as you know, then you just become a passenger on your way to hitting the wall. And this is a racetrack that has that safer barrier, the steel and foam energy reduction barrier, which actually helps reduce the impact going against the wall.
It's not
Fast race cars, we think we can get to the front.
But with Thomas Scheckter, you talk about a guy who has had no luck at all. We've just gone with a caution on yellow. And there it is. Oh, man. Ed Carpenter.
You know, there's a guy that needed a little bit of luck. This certainly takes him out of the Rookie of the Year championship because Koski Mistura certainly had a lead going into this, and he had to actually win or finish second to have a shot at that. But talk about a guy that needs some luck, Paul. He is not signed yet for next year. Eddie Cheever did not take his option up. His fate right now is unknown.
Yeah, good news and bad news in this one. Ed Carpenter is fine. He gets out of the car. The car is wrecked, and he's obviously disappointed at the start of this season, but that should give the Rookie of the Year cleanly to Koski Mistura. There it is, just up into the wall, coming off at turn 2 and onto the backstretch. So the first caution of the day, Castroneves jumped out in front, took the lead. We'll be back with a restart after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Winter.
Now what's happening, Paul, right now, these guys are trying to position themselves because they know they're coming up shortly here to 15 to go, to position themselves to be right there in the front, in the hunt. We look at Michael Andretti.
Oh, and we get a caution. 2 cars into the wall. It's Franchitti and Alex Barron.
I'm good.
Barron was having such a great run. That's a big hit on that car.
That's 2 wrecks today for the Red Bull team, Cheever team. You can see Alex right there in the center of the cockpit. We'll wait for him to see if he can take his steering wheel off.
Franchitti appears to be okay as he pulls his belts off. And
remember, that's 2 accidents for him this weekend, guys. He's got that broken left foot.
Nasty way to end the season with just 15 to go when the caution came out. And the Delphi safety team working around Alex Barron's car.
You know, you talk about that, Paul, the Delphi guys. These same team go to every race on the IRL circuit, and it's a lot of comfort for the drivers to know they travel with you not only to the races, but also the tests, and that if there is a problem either in the race or test, that those guys are to you as quickly as possible. That car was almost not even stopped before the trucks were in view and going to assist Alex Barron.
Dario Franchitti, helmet off now, a wave at the end of the season. They're sending the field down through the pit area because of debris up on the straightaway. Dario probably doesn't want to put any pressure on that broken right foot until he has to. That's still a question mark.
Well, he did go to the driver's meeting this morning on crutches, and we see the replay right now. Both cars are already collected together. That's Franchitti on the lower side, and that's Barron is up on 2 wheels, and looks like the roll bar and what have you is just starting to slide in between the car of Franchitti and the wall. So remember, there is the safer barrier here, which helps cushion the blow when the cars come and hit in contact with the wall. So steel and energy that they have is really absorbed by that wall, which is tremendous. And obviously a little concern with Eddie Cheever right now with his driver, with Alex Barron.
Remember a year ago, about this point in the race, I think the 188th lap was when Kenny Breck caught the wall in turn 3. Eddie Cheever very concerned just because the length of time that the Delphi safety team is there. Dr. Henry Bach is the white-haired gentleman on over the cockpit there. So he's got a doctor right there immediately.
Well, I've been through this myself, guys, at this very particular track, and right now I got to tell you that the thing that they're doing is being very cautious. He's probably alert and awake right now. Apologize for my voice, I'm battling a bug here, but right now they look like they're in conversation with him, and they'll take every precaution possible to make sure that he's well.
And it's good news that they will take as much time as necessary. Jerry Punch, you got something for us?
Well, exactly, Paul. They are following a prescribed protocol to be able to extricate the driver, and you see Dario Franchitti a moment ago being helped into one of the ambulances. I'm with Kyle Moyer. And Kyle, first of all, you've spoken with Dario. How is he?
Yeah, he's okay, just upset, you know. It's been like, I mean, we're going to Disney Cruise next week to celebrate a championship, but I'd have to say our season's been a bit of a Disney roller coaster ride. I mean, and this this caps this season. I mean, Dario's out there trying his best. We got pushed up in the wall, hit the wall there, and the big mix fell to the back, tried to get back up, and that's what happened. So I just hope Alex is okay. That's all I worry about now.
What did the spotters say happened? I know you were talking a moment ago with this incident with him and Alex Barron.
Yeah, I'm not going to say much because I haven't seen it, but it looked like Alex touched his from the back and pushed his around, you know. But as long as he's okay, that's all that matters.
All right, Kyle Moyer, they've won 2 this year, but not the way they wanted to finish the season.
So they're still working down around Alex Barron's car. There's plenty of help there, plenty of expertise, and they continue to run the field through the pits with Castroneves leading Weldon, Kanaan, Meira, Sharp, and Fernandez. Castroneves now beginning to sense a possibility of his first win of this 2004 season in the last race, and the second win for Roger Penske's team. Oh, look at that. There's some good news. Alex Barron is moving an arm, and that indicates consciousness, and we'll wait for the official medical report, but that's always a good sign.
Well, Doc Punch said that the cautions are there, and a lot of drivers have actually lived through this program. I have right now. You're thankful that these medical people are there on staff. As we're watching it go through right now, you can see the top. Franchitti started to break loose just a little bit there, and Alex Barron ended up catching him. He was on the high side, starting to go around him, and right now you have to say it's one of those racing accidents, guys.
Dave Brown and that Delphi safety team being very careful with Alex Barron, but the good news, he appeared to be moving around, and we'll wait for the official medical report as soon as they get a good look at him at the Infield Care Center. We'll be back, see if we get a green. We've got 3 different views for you. It looks like just a snap spin for Franchitti.
As we watch the car that's in front, the white and blue car with a little bit of red on it, was Franchitti. Looks like he just breaks loose. Although Alex Barron is very close to the rear of the car, I don't believe. Get through the gearbox, up through the gears, and lead going into turn 1, and then flat-footed all the way down the backstretch.
Mission accomplished for Danica Patrick. And Danica successful on the restart. And we've got another yellow on lap 13. It's Alex Barron, and this time, Scotty, once again, it is turn 4 as our first incident took place at 1 and 2. And turn 4, Thomas Inge was just talking about it. That's where he had his problems overshooting 3.
Well, you can see he's already taking the steering wheel off the car there momentarily, so you know that he's okay. You can see the damage on the front right there with the nose, and also his right front looks like he's actually had contact with the wall or another car, so we'll have to investigate that to find out exactly what happened. But talk about another team that has not had very much luck here. And you can see on the restart, Todd, going through turn 4 where you put the power down, trying to get some acceleration coming out to get onto the front stretch, he's already got the car coming around. And there again, going into the phase 2 of the safer barrier, not near as hard as Thomas Inge did the other day, but certainly enough to put the car out of the race.
The 51 of the Red Bull Cheever racing vehicle, that is Alex Barron making contact with the wall on lap 13. That is our second incident in this race. Are you...
As soon as Dario Franchitti went past her, probably got a little bit of that dirty air off the car, and we have another yellow out again.
So another yellow comes out, and this plays into the corner of Danica Patrick. So another yellow for debris.
And it looks like a flat tire right there on the left rear tire of Ryan Briscoe. Now that could have been something that he picked up during that accident, or something that he picked up still that might have been missed on the racetrack by the cleanup crew. His car's on the high side. Oh, right, there you go. I take back the debris theory, and there you go. A little bit high, gets up, hits the wall. Watch this.
Looks like one of the Red Bull Cheever cars came up right on him.
He's just getting pushed up to the front. He's got the front end going, and then all of a sudden, there you go. Carpentier actually just runs over the left rear tire.
Scheckter, followed by Sam Hornish, part of the Penske team. Dan Weldon, the current points leader. Tony Kanaan sits in 4th. And Dario Franchitti, we've got a big yellow coming into turn 4. All kinds of debris, and it's the 33, the back end. That is Ryan Briscoe, who initially qualified on the pole. And as Jamie Little reported, after an infraction to his car during post-qualifying, he was disqualified, sent to the back of the pack. And there you see it in one of the Red Bull Cheever drivers. Looks like maybe Patrick Carpentier exiting his car quickly. He is moving, but Scotty, right now, the most important thing is to get him extricated from that vehicle.
Those cars are meant to come apart like that, Todd. I know it actually looks like it's just a mess. That's the engine front in the car, possibly. There's a lot of debris going on there. The bell housing and the transmission. It's made to break away from the cocoon, as we call it, the car. There you can see right there some oil fires starting, a lot of body work that's sitting on top of that. The engine must be somewhere else because it looks like it's possibly just the bell housing and the transmission. And the monocoque itself is where those guys are. And there's Koski Masura, the number 55, the Panasonic car that actually was involved in this. And he had a crash earlier in the weekend when he got hit from Thomas Enge's car out in practice. And disappointing for him because he finished 6th just last week at Sonoma. A great finish for him that he's had.
Well, Koski's moving. That's the important thing, Scott. And I want to correct myself. That's 51 Alex Barron, the Red Bull Cheever driver who got out of his car so quickly. Alex Barron actually walking down on the grass infield by pit in. Koski Matsura and Ryan Briscoe, the 3 cars right now that are involved, and it looks like Ryan Briscoe's car took the worst of it.
All that smoke that's coming out, that'll be actually extinguished by the Delphi safety crew right there as you see a look at the Red Bull target.
Well, here it is again. Here's how they come into 3, Scotty.
Actually, you can see on the very underside what a ride that was. Remember we had last year with Buddy Rice getting airborne coming out of turn 2 when they touched wheels. And here's the situation. Briscoe going underneath. Barron trying to come down on the racetrack. They both are going for the same piece of real estate. And what ends up happening is those rubber tires touch, and then all of a sudden the car starts to go in the air. Remember, we're going 215 miles an hour. Look at all the debris that's going all around the racetrack. This will be a long cleanup time. And there's the engine separated from both the transmission and the monocoque where the driver sits. That's what we call kitty litter right there going on the racetrack, Todd, to dry up all that oil that starts to come off of
Scott,
those vehicles.
let's look at this one more time and see if we can see the genesis of this accident.
Now looking straight ahead, you can see the cars just starting to come together. A little bit of rub, smoke coming off the tires when they touch. And then all of a sudden, as we're riding on board Scott Dixon's car, he sees this. He was actually a spectator in the crash just last year. Now watch those left side wheels. Those are down on the flat underneath the white line. He did a great job keeping that car straight with 2 wheels on the 18-degree banking, 2 wheels on the flat down on the entrance.
Oh my, look at that. And that is the fence by the safer barrier. And Scott, as a driver, you see your teammate have an accident like that. I mean, that was reminiscent of what happened to Kenny Breck in Texas.
I was wrong on that, wasn't I? He didn't get around Fontana.
Roger Penske raced. Uh-oh, here's a problem. Barron, and this could bring out a full course yellow. The 3rd full course yellow of the day. That comes out on lap 54 for Barron.
Yeah. Well, this will change things slightly. He's dead, and he's right in the middle of the corner. They're going to have to send somebody out, some workers out there. They can't do it while they're racing, though, so they have to bring out a full course yellow to get him off the track.
I'd like to see a replay if this is possible to see how that happened.
Well, the interesting thing will be the restart. It'll be the most important restart of the day for Scott Dixon.
Let's see if we can see what triggered this, Larry, because that's an unusual position to have a car on that racetrack. You're thinking this right-hander, this centrifugal force, put the car out to the left side, not to the inside of the racetrack.
Yeah, he must have got...
Ah, that's where he looped it.
Yeah, he got down in the grass.